research, part 2. So this is kind of a key quote I found, which is where I want to go. So evidence suggests that fluency in arithmetic is likely to depend on a constant interplay between quantity, visual, and verbal representation numbers. So I'm looking specifically at arithmetic and building upon people's knowledge of numbers. So instead of just counting, to kind of build upon this in a visual, quantity way. So that kind of interplay. So kinesthetic and visual representation numbers help all students understand numbers as wholes. And so a lot of people are able to see 1, 2, 3, but 2 is only given meaning because it's between 1 and 3, rather than it as a quantity, like 2 objects. And so kind of building that understanding. So some good examples and things I want to kind of explore more is the abacus. And so this is a seeing approach to numbers rather than counting. So you can automatically know between 4 and 6 that that is 4 objects and 6 objects. And so splitting an abacus into colours, you don't need to count to know that that's that amount of numbers. And so this relieves the pressure on verbal working memory in order to help people to kind of understand and kind of develop their number sense. Numicon is a really good example. And so using practical arithmetic through images. And so you get to play around with things. You don't have to use abstract numbers. You can physically play around and see number 1 to 10 and how they're abstracted. And Deans. So this is using scale to understand place value. And so understanding that you have 1 unit, and then if you have 1,000, it's a cube. And so instead of just understanding like it's 10 times bigger, you actually see this physical representation in your head. And so it's kind of building this visual understanding of the tools in your head to understand, rather than just an abstract concept of it. So yeah, and relating this, abstract problems need to be linked to real life examples. And so you always need to reply it back, otherwise you can't scaffold and build upon what you already know, because it makes no sense. Singapore Math is a really nice example of this, and they're using Bruner's, I think, methodology of a spiral concept. So you have to have a concrete, pictorial, and abstract representation. So you start with having like physically 3 apples, and then you have pictures of 3 apples, and then you know that that is the number 3. And every time you learn a concept, you keep coming back to this order. And Singapore Maths use this as a nice textbook. So instead of just having like 3 times 4 equals 12, it kind of builds upon this idea. And then finally, it's useful for a learner to know a range of learning styles, to which ones they prefer. And so you've got a holistic learner who needs to see the big picture of anything before going into the detail. So unless they're given this overview, they're not going to be able to start learning. And this is compared to the analyst who works sequentially. And so they don't understand the big picture so easily and have to work through it step by step. And of course, this is a scale, most people are in the middle, and you need both methods to understand this. You've then got the verbalizer, who prefers information through speech and text. And so...
Someone just
That was Jace. It was Jace.
And then on the other side of that, you've got the imager, who sees things visually, and also you kinesthetic, and so you can see it and do it and have to have it. And once again, this is on a scale, so you need to apply both methods to learning maths in a visual way, and then you teach it through. So kind of, that's an overview of what I want to explore, and kind of, I guess my end product is kind of a blended learning resource. So taking a technology, and so creating like a digital abacus so that it's accessible to everyone, but alongside that having a set of notes and a way of teaching it, so that you need the human interaction, you need the concrete and physical things. You can't just have a cool abacus and expect someone to learn from it. Then I can bring up my research proposal if you...
Yeah, so I needed permission, so I had to request it. Yeah. Cool.
Should I get that up?
Yeah, that'd be good. So,
And that kind of splits down.
yeah, cool.
Okay, so title is Learning Maths. That's the abstract abstract, so that was kind of what I started with. So this is the same
Yeah.
quote here,
Sure.
and so I want to create a system to enable people to become fluent in arithmetic. That's what it's
Yeah.
So the goals is to help develop understanding in numbers arithmetic by specifically developing an understanding of how numbers can be represented as a quantity,
Mm-hmm.
visually and verbally, using different methods.
Right.
After 7, you start developing a sense of more abstract concepts. So before then, there's no point dealing with it, and then it's better to intervene early rather than later. So any kind of time after that. Looking at the pictures.
Yeah.
And then data games, that's the final objects. So that's the kind of
Great.
stuff.
Yeah, so I think that your presentation is really good. I think it's very honed, which is great. I think you picked up a subject that you're obviously quite keen on. I've seen some of the research, which is really, really good. Definitely be ripping after that off in the PhD, because there's loads of really good stuff in there about like how people learn, and just collated in one space, which is really, really good. And I think that the fact that you've set some very specific, the abstract looks great, already just that one bit, like what it's going to do. And that you've picked a very specific audience, like here, and you use these things and specifically help these types of learners, which is great. I think that's really, really nice. I think again, it's probably, I think like that Beasts of Balance is a good thing to look at. Hopefully that guy should be coming in January, February. He's done a lot of physical, digital, hybrid sort of games, and it feels like, and again the Brett Victor video of seeing spaces is, these things are kind of really interesting in the future of how education might be done. And the nice thing is that you've got like you can go just to arithmetic, and so you can figure out some of these ideas and see it. You should definitely watch the Brett Victor Seeing Spaces video. It's pretty hard to get your head around some of what he's talking about, because he's not talking about AR, he's not talking about VR, he's talking about something that's almost manipulable physical objects that have like data in them, so they're intelligent objects, but you can do things with them, so you can mould them, and so it's pretty out there. I suspect he's doing something amazing, but he's kind of disappeared in general in what he talks about, but it's normally because he's doing something that I was talking about. Yeah, that's great, really good. Thanks, Bobby.